What is going on, guys? Eagle Aquatics back here, and today in this video I'm going to be talking about some of my top aquarium tools, must-haves for if you're in the reefing app. So I gathered a bunch of my stuff, the stuff I use the most and I feel are necessities for reef keeping, and I gathered them here today. I'm going to share them with you. These are my personal top favorite tools. Let's start out with tweezers. You gotta have them. If you're in the saltwater hobby, you could use these to feed krill, feed corals, anemones, shrimp. I use this every single day. These things. These are Zoomed brand. Little rusty, little old. That's all right though. I use them every day. They're one of my most important tools. Yeah, mostly for feeding. I use these. You could also pick up corals if you don't want to get your hands wet, move around stuff. They're just a great tool to have, and they're not very expensive either, so definitely a great tool to have in your arsenal for sure. Let's go along the same lines. Turkey basters are like squeeze bowl tools. These I use mostly for feeding. I use the smaller one for feeding. These are great feeding tools for frozen mostly. You melt your frozen food down, pick it up in this siphon, and then squirt to the fish everywhere. This tool is used every single day. You gotta have them. And I use the bigger one. You could use them from feeding to blowing off rocks. I blow off all the live rock in my tank with the big one. Rio, these are made by Rio. They make, in my opinion, the best aquarium turkey basters, whatever you want to call them. They make the best ones because they don't fly off. They're actually screwed down, and you can unscrew these, and let's get that off. And you could pull this off and then clean the inside if any food gets stuck in there. Like there's a little bit of food stuck in there, so you could get some kind of cleaning device and get in there and clean that, which is a huge plus. So I think they're called Rio Coral Feeders. They're not very expensive at all, like $10, $15 for the two of those. Great tools. This one you'll probably have laying around the house somewhere. Simple shot glass. These things work great. If you have a smaller tank to medium-sized tank, works with my 60-gallon. Fill this up with some water. Put a few cubes of your favorite frozen food or something in here. Melt it down. It works perfect. Then you get the turkey baster. Suck it up. Feeds the fish. I use this again every day. It's one of my main feeding tools. Great. Any shot glass works, and they're great to have. Like $1 too. You don't even have to buy an expensive one. Another must, in my opinion, is coral super glue. BSI makes my favorite coral glue. I find this to be the best. It's IC gel or ice gel, and it's true. It does cure almost instantly in water. My favorite thing about these guys is in the cap they have a needle in the cap, so no matter what, it'll never clog. I've left the cap off and forgot it overnight, and it was all frozen, the tip of it, so you couldn't get any gel out. I screwed the cap back on and it broke through, and then the glue came back out. And another awesome thing about these, if you order them from Amazon or bulk resupply, they give you an extra cap, so even if it does clog bad, you can just put a new cap on there, and that's great. It's like $6, I believe, for one of these, and it lasts a while. This I've come to see is the fastest curing super glue. You glue the frags out of water and then put them in the water to let them cure. Move the coral around on the frag, and then it'll cure instantly. This is great stuff. I highly recommend this. This is my favorite brand when it comes to coral glue. It's great. And I rather use this over coral putty. It just works better. Another must-have almost, it makes it a lot easier, are algae magnets. Flipper, in my opinion, makes the very best magnetic algae cleaner, and it's because you could flip this in the tank. You could flip it to the scraper side, scrape off tough algae like that green algae and coralline algae, and you also have this soft side, which is like made of almost like a Velcro material, which just takes off that thin film of green algae that grows on all of our tanks. This is the mid-sized one. It works for most tanks, most every tank. They're very low profile, and they're just a great tool. So you put, obviously this one goes in the tank, this one's out of the tank, and you just move it around. It clears off algae in no time at all. Best one. They are a little more expensive, but it's definitely worth it, because your regular mag floats do nothing compared to these, honestly, in my opinion. I've tried both. This I've found to be the best one, for sure. Next item is a toothbrush. Don't use a used toothbrush or previously used toothbrush in your tank, obviously. Get like a cheap new toothbrush from the store, $1 or $2. I use this to clean, oops, sorry about that terrible glare. Clean off the power head, go over it, clean it off, clean all the filter intakes, the skimmer pump, everything with this. Toothbrush is one of my most used cleaning tools. Just great to have. It takes off a lot of stuff. You could even use it to clean in the sink, like equipment in the sink. Just brush it off. It works excellent. Fit in the small spaces and clean stuff off really well. So something as simple as a toothbrush, where it goes a long way. That's for sure. Another one, super cheap, super easy, Airline Tubing. You're gonna want this if you're planning on adding any fish to a saltwater aquarium. This stuff, you just use it for acclimating pretty much. Just start a siphon, tie a knot at the end to make it a drip, and it's called drip acclimating. Put this end in your tank, put the other end in the bucket, let the fish drip acclimate. It works great. Super cheap, cut it to size, and just a great tool to have. Another obvious one is, of course, a net. You gotta have a net. You can get nets of all different sizes, super cheap. Everybody needs one if you have a tank. Catch fish, trap stuff, take stuff out of the bags when you buy it. It's just a great tool to have. Everybody in the aquarium hobby, of course, has one. Another one, if you're planning on keeping any algae-eating fish like tangs or like rabbit fish, stuff like that, get an Algae Clip. Omega 1 makes a good one. You just clip the sheet of algae in there. Sheets of algae like that. You just clip it in there, put it in the tank. Usually they have suction cups on them. There's a bunch of different types. There's even some magnet ones that you can put in the tank. Just suction cup them in and the fish eat right off of them. So it's a must-have if you have any fish with a vegetarian diet. Gotta have one of these. Great tool to have. Super cheap also. Another one of these small containers of fish, or like a beta container like that. I use these a lot, from acclimating different fish to fragging sometimes. Just a cool tool to have. Put a little bit of salt water in there, do whatever you gotta do. And yeah, I use it a lot for multiple different things. You could even trap a fish in here if you gotta get rid of them. Sink it in the tank. It works really good for acclimating also. You can do a bunch of different stuff with it. Another one, these little plastic razor blades. You can get these at like any Reef saltwater store. Get in the corners of the tank where the algae grows, go up the side. They work great. They don't scratch glass or anything. I use this thing all the time. Good little tool. This is pretty much a must. Either a hydrometer or a refractometer. Personally, you gotta go with the refractometer because it's so much better, so much more accurate. It's a great tool. I use this a couple times a week. Check the salinity. You put the drips of water in here, close that thing, and then look up at some light, and you see the little thing. I don't know, I doubt you could see it in there, but there's a little chart in there that shows you the salt amount. Comes with a little turkey baster, and you put a few drips of salt water in there, look through it, gives you the exact amount of salt, and they can be calibrated too, which is huge, because a lot of times hydrometers are inaccurate, I've found to be, and these are extremely accurate devices. Gotta have one. You could get, they're a little more expensive than hydrometers, of course, ranging for I think they're like $30 to all the way up to like $60 for a lighted one. But it's totally worth it. You'll use this all the time, and you'll like it so much better than a hydrometer. So much more accurate and everything. And there's another one. Get yourself some quality test kits. For anything you want to test, from phosphate, if you dose, magnesium, calcium, alkalinity, stuff like that, nitrates, phosphates, pH, all kinds of stuff. In my opinion, Salifert makes the very best test kits for a good price. They're very affordable, very affordable, and they make excellent test kits. I've found these to be extremely accurate. I've tested them against my fish store and came up with the same results. Very good test kits. You could build up a whole arsenal of them, test every element in your tank. They're just great to have. They're not that expensive, like $15 for each one of these. That's not bad. They last you a long time, as you can see. 100 to 200 tests for alkalinity, 50 to 100 for calcium, 60 for phosphates, and 50 for magnesium. Just a great tool to have. I'll have to do some reviews on these, but definitely going to want to have some of these. You got to test for the important elements in your tank, see how it's doing, and you'll definitely get your use out of these for sure. And then lastly, for mixing salt water for water changes, you gotta have buckets. Buckets are used for acclimating, drip acclimating fish, mixing new salt water, putting old salt water in, dumping it out. You use buckets for everything. You gotta get buckets. It's just probably, honestly, maybe the most important tool. And along with the saltwater mixing station, get yourself a power head to mix the salt, of course an extra heater, a wooden spoon or something to mix it. Works great. No problems. And one more last thing is a siphon attachment, vacuum out the sand and everything, and then a big hose leading to a bucket. Great. A lot of ones come with like squeeze bulbs in the middle, so you could just squeeze in and start the siphon. Mine, I just get some water in here, lift it up, start the siphon, and then it goes. An absolute necessity if you're planning on doing water changes. Gotta have one of those. But otherwise, yeah guys, that's been my aquarium tools, aquarium must-haves for the reefing hobbyist. You're gonna wanna have all these tools eventually, so yeah, go pick up yourself some of these tools. I'll leave some links in the description. Go check out my build series on my 125 gallon tank. Make sure to subscribe, leave a comment. What do you guys want to see in future videos? Give me some ideas. Follow me on Instagram at Eagle Aquatics for exclusive content not seen on this channel. And be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Eagle Aquatics.